Welcome back, guys. This is Gaming with Alston, and today Today Damn it. Damn it. Son of a bitch. Damn it. Damn it. Much better. Much better. The song Messiah was originally sung, which was featured in the movie Bruno, was actually sung initially by Peter Maffay. His real name is Peter Alexander Mackay. That's actually his real name, but everyone simply calls him Peter Maffay. Everyone simply calls him Peter Maffay. Peter Maffay. His real name is Peter Alexander Mackay, but everyone simply calls him Peter Maffay. The last dictatorship that is still running in Europe is in Belarus. Belarus is the only European country that is run by a dictator. His name is Alexander Lukashenko. His name is Alexander Lukashenko. Belarus is the only dictatorship in Europe left. Under Hitler, Germany was a military dictatorship. But you know, there's a difference between a military dictatorship and a military junta. A military junta is when a country is ruled by the elites of the military. A small handful of elites associated with the military. But a military dictatorship, on the other hand, is when it's ruled completely by one person who's in control of the entire military. Kim Jong-un is a self-entitled person who's trying to go against international law just to get his way. Just to try to get his way. He does everything to try to get his way. Yes, this includes purging his own high-ranking officials. Just to try to get his way. He does it just to get his way. If he keeps doing that, he's going to lose power in the next couple of years. Alexander Lukashenko is a dictator too. My plan is to do a sci-fi story. It's going to take place several thousand years into the future. It's going to take place thousands of years into the future. Like 1,500 years after the events of World War III. Like, it'll be several years after the events of World War... 1,500 years after the events of World War III. There are some people who spank their children out there that actually support the legalization of judicial corporal punishment. There are people out there who criticize the use of corporal punishment. Torture. In some countries, people actually are sentenced to get spanked. It's kind of cruel. It's terrible that people are sentenced to get spanked. It's actually pretty terrible. It's terrible that people are actually sentenced to get spanked. It's pretty terrible. 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 10, 8, 7, 6, 6 plus 14, 21, 6 plus 7, 13 plus 18, 8 is 21 plus 31, 42, 42 square meters. In Singapore, parents who call corporal punishment child abuse will probably get flogged. Because they use pain as a means of making people more submissive. Injury. Eins, zwei, drei, vier. What? What Kim Jong-un is, he is a self-entitled asshole. That's what he is. And some people who support the use of corporal punishment in our schools also want a one-party state, too. The fascist dictator would not only be on the far right, but it'd be straight up he'd be straight up totalitarian. And Singapore is an example of a totalitarian country, because there is no free speech in Singapore. Those who criticize the use of corporal punishment in Singapore get spanked. Literally. Would they get spanked? What Singapore does to punish convicts is kind of inhumane. This is just wrong. If I had kids, I'd stay the hell away from using corporal punishment, because research has shown time and time again that it does more harm than good. But you know, some people don't believe in science, as they claim scientists will not. And Sverich is one of those people that does not believe in science. There are people out there who avoid believing in science, claiming that scientists won't admit that the Earth is flat. Then the totalitarian country in my story, like, it's going to take place several thousand years from now. Like, about 15... It'll take place in the sometime in the 36th century. It'll take place sometime in the 36th century. Around the year 3750. Like, after hundreds of years of everlasting peace, a new evil would rise. That new evil would be the rise of the Fourth Reich, which their motive for invading other countries wouldn't just be for economics, they would do it to enslave the population. Parents and as the Fourth Reich tries to annihilate the socialist-controlled areas, and claim it as their own, eventually they would start invading. Like, their first. Like, they would start invading. Like, it'd be an interplanetary empire. Like, their motive for imperialism, some of it would be hatred towards certain ethnic groups. Some of it's going to be related to economics. And that's the reason why they're going to try to invade. Like, one of the planets they would try to invade would be Earth. Then after centuries of peace, war would strike back again, rattling the entire solar system. War would rattle the entire solar system. Like, there would be a full-scale interplanetary conflict. In which there would be a Pyrrhic victory. In the Fourth Reich, there would be a strategic victory with the first interglobal. Kind of like how there's a couple generations of internationals, like the first, second, third, and fourth international, there would be the first interglobal. Like, it'd be interplanetary socialism. The war would be called the First Solar War. The First Solar War. Why will it be called the Solar War? It'll take place in throughout the solar system. One of the battle theaters would be the Martian Civil War. Like, that would take place after the Fourth Reich will have invaded the Red Planet, enslaving the Martians. After enslaving the Martians, yes, like, the government of the Fourth Reich would be an ultranationalist military dictatorship. An ultranationalist totalitarian military dictatorship. An ultranationalist military dictatorship. Like, they tried to bring the world back to tradition. Not only would they go towards bringing the world back to its traditional ways, but they would try to cripple democracy around the world. Like, not only around the world, but across the solar system, to create the first systematic empire. Like, the first solar empire. The punishments for breaking the law would be pretty harsh. as it would be a totalitarian country. Both North Korea and Nazi Germany are examples of military dictatorships. Like, they would go towards purging Christians. Like, one of the motives for invading other neighboring planets in the solar system and other celestial bodies, it wouldn't just be for resources. They would do it to cause a massive genocide. The punishment for vandalism, like, they would chop your like, they wouldn't just chop your hand off. Like, it'd be, the laws of inside the nation would be kind of based off of Sharia law, as well as policies imposed by Hitler under Hitler's rule. And the judicial system of Singapore, too. As well as the judicial system of Singapore. In this area, there would be a gym. As this would be a loft building. Like, their end goal would be to try to make the solar system ethnically homogeneous. There'd be a cult of personality surrounding the dictator. Like, it would encompass, like, people would be required by law to worship the leader every single day, or else they would get, and if they don't worship, they get flogged, like, their entire families would be sent, and everyone within the city would be sent to a stadium. They'd be flogged in front of everyone. Then they would be executed. Using the most barbaric methods of capital punishment. They'd use electricity. Sometimes a criminal would be flogged, would be summarily flogged. Flogged without trial. And that is very cruel. Those who question the policies would literally be sentenced to death. Those who explain the reason behind the policies would also be sentenced to death, too, in the story. That's how bad the freedom of speech problem would be. Those who explain the reason behind the policies would be sentenced to death. It's not that they don't want to give a reason, it's that they wouldn't be allowed to. No matter how badly they want to explain them. It's that they wouldn't be allowed to. Even if they really wanted to. They wouldn't be allowed to, or else they would get killed. And that'd drive people into saying, only saying because I said so. Because that would be the only explanation you'd be allowed to have. Like, that'd be the only explanation that could keep people alive from getting purged. That's how bad the freedom of speech problem would be. Like, if one was caught with in the regime, like, it'd be kind of like North Korea. Like, they'd claim freedom of religion, even though there wouldn't be any freedom of religion. Christians, Jews, and Muslims would all be persecuted. They'd all be persecuted in the regime. While in the socialist regime, which would cover several planets and other celestial bodies, while in the socialist area controlled territories, also known as the Libcom territories, as it would be under libertarian communism. As it'll be under libertarian communism. And anyways, this should be it for this video. Don't forget to leave a like if you like this video, dislike if you disliked it, subscribe for more. Don't forget to follow me on Instagram, Twitter, and Facebook for more content like this. As always, this is Gaming with Alston signing off. Thank you for watching, and until next time, bye.